We've been discussing the development of a logo for a US-based company, and there's the logo, called it Turfmaster logo. It's a separate drawing file, and I've inserted into a different drawing file and set it up such that there's a border around the drawing, there's space for the project title, space for revisions, date of provisions and so on. I'd be inclined to pick that one, and just with polar on I'd move things around, so you just adjust the drawing sheet and title block and logo to suit the way you work. If I right click on layout here, you need to check that in the layouts manager that the most common size sheet you work with, let's say architectural B, is in evidence. So that's the size of the white sheet that you see here. And what I've done is moved all of the line and rectangle and polyline information so that it sits with a border that's a bit wider on the left hand side than it is on the right hand side, and that allows for hanging or hanging space. And I've done the same at the top, giving you a little more space at the top. So that's zoom extents. So we're now fairly confident that what we have there, all those lines, text and so on, we can save that as a separate block, and we'll call it Turfmaster's title block, and then we'll use that in a template drawing. Well, if you've been following along in this series, previously we made a CAD version of a logo. The logo was an image file, and we traced over the image file to make a CAD version of a logo. We could edit it, and it was pretty simple. There was a polyline which had been filled and so on. So we made the CAD version of the logo quite easily. Let's close the block editor. The next step is to incorporate that logo inside what we might call a title block. That'll give you an opportunity to put the details of the client name, contact details, all sorts of information can be stored down at the bottom of the sheet that will help identify this particular project to you, and any revisions that you make, who did the design and approval and so on. Now, what we want to do is swing to a brand new drawing to create a template for this company that will incorporate all the information you see there, the logo and all of the lines there. So we'll save that as architectural B title, and we'll close it. And what we'll do now is start a brand new drawing. I'm going to start it without any template. I don't want to pick up any extra information, so I'm saying with no template. The first thing we need to do is to test that logo and title sheet. To do that, I'll go to Format and Layout, and we'd made that portrait, so we click a new layout. We built it on an architectural B size sheet in portrait view, and so we can say OK and OK again. Now we go to layout number 1 and zoom extents so we see the whole page, and then we're going to bring in that previous drawing. To do that, we can say we're going to insert a block, and we want to retain it as a block. And I'll say from another file, and there we are, Turfmaster Architectural B title, and I'll open it up. It contains the logo within it, which is fair enough, and we say now insert that into the drawing, into this layout space, and you can see I'm anchored through there. Now, the sheet size is not quite right, is it? We're a little bit too big, so we probably need to go back and redefine things. What I'm going to do is just check that I did in fact choose in the Layouts Manager, I've picked ANSI B, and I want architectural, not ANSI, so it's architectural B, and we'll go OK. The sheet should reassign or reorganise itself, and it does. So now I can move that title block information there. So we now know the title block works, and we're going to keep that there because that gives us one layout. We might want to go to the Layouts Manager and rename that, and we call that Arc B and Portrait. Probably don't need to do that, just Architectural B will do, I think, and we'll go OK. That will then appear in a tab. Clearly we can have lots of different sheet sizes. Now we go back into the model. So far there's nothing in the model, and I'm going to go to View, Background Colour White, and if we use the distance tool and measure from one side to the other, we've got about 180 feet across to do our design. So what I'm now going to do is to put into this space, tuck them over to the right, a whole lot of symbols and information that this company is likely to use whenever they start a new job, and we'll also attach a plant database file that works for the Florida region. Well, thus far there's not a lot in our template. We've got a drawing sheet there for an architectural B-size sheet, but if we go into the model there's not much there at all. This is a design for Florida, and what I'm going to do is to swing to a drawing done by one of our other users from the Florida area, and I'm just going to select everything in there and copy that to the clipboard. I'll go back to our template drawing and simply right click and paste everything from the clipboard into this drawing and just drop it in like so. You can see there are some problems with fonts and so on, but we're not concerned about these. Why I wanted to do that is that gives me a whole lot of tools that are in the block library. This is the block library associated with the drawing, and you can see there's an anthurium, and I can move backwards and forwards through some of the symbols that are there in the drawing. And I'll close. We may or may not use them, but that puts them into the template really quickly and really easily. And we've got the Florida database file associated, so if we look at it and edit the list, it's a very small list of plants that these designers are likely to work with. That will need editing later, but we're off to a flying start. And now we'll just remove everything in there, and we're going to save that template. The next step is to put the template in the correct folder position so that when we go File and New, it will pick up that template and use it every time. Well, I've started Internet Explorer. I've put that file, or a copy of it, on the desktop. So we're now looking for Turfmaster template. There it is, and I'll right click and copy that, and I'll come down to Users, Documents, gCADPlus, Data and Templates, and we'll paste it in. And it says it's already open. Of course, I need to go back to gCADPlus and close it. And now we can close that one as well. We've finished with that. I'll say no. And so we can go back to this one, and then we can paste. So we've pasted Turfmaster template into the templates folder for gCADPlus, and we can go back to gCADPlus now and go File and New, and there's the Turfmaster template. It's been added to the other ones that are in gCADPlus, so we add it, and there we are. So if I clicked here, can you see here are a whole lot of symbols that came across in that previous drawing, and a lot of them are suitable for work in the Florida environment. So we can close from there. So we've got a template file which contains a plant database file and a few symbols that will work in the Florida environment. So we could do a new job quite easily. You would want to refine it. You'd want to edit a whole lot of things in that series of blocks that are there. but we're well on the way. So if you had a new job, it would be just a matter of going file and line. I won't bother putting the distances in, but it's only a matter of typing them in using decimal feet as your base unit, and then if you want to bring in a symbol, just insert it into the drawing and in it comes. We can put it down and copy it like so. The interesting thing about working this way is that if we select that symbol, it's already tagged with the information from the plant database file. So we're off to a flying start, and if we started another new job, we just click on it and use exactly the same template, and away we go again. If I close that one and go back to the original one here, whatever we've been doing in that environment appears automatically in the floating viewport in our architectural B-size environment. So I hope you can see that spending a bit of time developing a template can save lots of time down the track. Well, here is the finished product. This is the space, this model space, where we design, and if I swing to architecture this time, the clients asked for a B-size sheet, so there's the B-size sheet. Whatever we draw in this area here, let's just draw a circle, centre radius here. Imagine it's for a relatively large lawn, 15 feet in radius. It will automatically appear over here. And the same applies in an architectural B-size sheet rather than the C-size sheets we had earlier. So we now have a template that will work nicely for this particular design company based in Florida.